Hello and welcome to EV Motoring. I'm Joe and it's time to do a range test with our 2027 Chevrolet Bolt LT EV. Taking off in the 2027 Chevrolet Bolt LT EV, we have a 65 kilowatt hour LFP, so that's an iron phosphate battery. Very similar to what used to be in the Standard Range Plus Tesla Model 3 for a while. This is a battery that its chemistry is actually quite durable. It's where it recommends charging the vehicle to 100%. So leaving here with 100%, we have an vehicle estimated, or basically EPA range of 262 miles. Absolutely perfect conditions here because it's 66 degrees outside right now. And that's basically perfect because the air conditioner barely has to work to keep the car at an optimum temperature. And I really think we should be able to get a pretty healthy range out of this. Something to note when you have a vehicle like this that you can charge to 100% regularly, as opposed to like the Equinox, you should only charge to 80%. You basically end up with a similar daily range, because if you're charging that Equinox that has 320 miles or 319 miles of range to 80%, that comes out right around this 262 that the Bolt has. So really, you just got to find whichever size vehicle works better for you. Charging is also similar on both of them, peaking out at just about 150 kilowatts. But the big difference with the Bolt is NACS connector on here. So we're able to use the Tesla charging cord, which works great for us because we have a Tesla Model Y at home. So I just was able to plug my mobile connector right in, as well as pulling up to superchargers. At some point soon, we should be able to literally just pull up to a supercharger, plug in, walk away, just as you would with a Tesla, and the billing all happens in the background. This car has very low miles on it, just under 250 miles. We reset the trip gauge. Tire pressure is aired up to about 43 PSI, which is ideal for where it's supposed to be. We have a 215/50 R17 tire. I believe all the Bolts still get a 17-inch rim, so I believe they all get the same tire. We'll point that out more as we're on the highway, but it's a pretty good tire as far as road noise, etc. Seems to be fairly low rolling resistance, as well as not too much road noise coming through. Through the magic of editing, I'll show my route. Basically, I do an out and back. We have literally less than 5 miles an hour of wind today, so super ideal conditions. I drive out towards Rockford, Illinois. When I get to about 50%, I loop around and come back the exact same way. So whatever minor winds there are should be negated because we're going both ways. Merging on the highway now, we do 75 miles per hour on our range test. A lot of outlets do 70 miles per hour. I know I explain this in every video, but here in the Midwest, 75 is just the much more common speed that I encounter when I do actual road trips. So just remember, if you go a little bit slower, you'll get a little bit more range. So this is kind of showing the normal use case of doing 75 miles per hour. We try to avoid traffic as much as possible to not gain any draft from being behind semi-trucks. Up to speed now, and we will check in every 25%. So we'll see you at 75%. Just ticked down to 75%. We've gone just over 47 miles. That kind of doesn't extrapolate out to as much as I would hope it would, because that basically means we're going to get just under 200 miles of range. I would have expected a little more than that, but we're getting 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour so far. I'll be sure to put the conversion down below, since some people, with Tesla frequently uses watt hours per mile. It'll be nice when we get to a point where every brand just uses the same. I'm okay with watt hours per mile. I'm okay with miles per kilowatt hour, but similar to charging cords, it'd be nice if we just use the same standard everywhere. 47 miles and 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour so far. We go over to the energy usage screen here, and it shows the amount of energy that we've used and then a percentage of what that's been going for. So 98% of the energy we've used has been to drive the vehicle, and then 2% has been used to keep the vehicle cool, the air conditioning. So it's nice to see a little bit of a breakout here on the screen. At highway speeds in the Bolt EV, I have a little bit of a tire noise drone. I think that's where the noise is coming from, but it's just like a little bit of a drone. And then there's a little bit of wind noise that comes through. It's certainly not as quiet as the Equinox EV that we have. It seems relatively comparable to the Tesla. Tesla has a fair bit of wind noise, but again, for the price point of being a $28,000 or $29,000 car, this one was $29,900 at MSRP because it has the comfort package in it. You can't. It's very fine in here. The stereo is very fine. The wind noise is fine. It's certainly not egregious. It's not whisper quiet. It'd be interesting to compare it to the Volvo EX30 since that's a more premium vehicle. If there's less wind noise at highway speed, but it's certainly fine. We'll check back in at around 50%. Just ticked down to 50%. Pretty clear road conditions, which is working out great. We've gone just over 97 miles, which again, that's kind of held true since we've left home. It's looking like we'll get pretty close to 200 miles, or it looks like a little less, especially because in GM vehicles, traditionally, you do not want to run them down anywhere close to zero. Usually like 5% is the lowest I've really ever been able to get a GM vehicle, that at least the Equinox. And I've heard other reports of other GM vehicles having similar kind of, there's not as big of a buffer, whereas like in a Tesla, you can ride a Tesla down to 0%, and there's kind of like extra mileage beyond that, similar to like a gas car that you get to, your tank is empty, but you can still actually make it a little bit further down the road. Or where like your miles remaining will get to 0, but then you can still keep going a little bit. Kind of similar setup to that. So each brand has the ability to set up their guessometer how they want. With Chevy, it looks like when you run out, you're pretty much at 0. I've had it in vehicles where at 5%, I cannot maintain highway speeds anymore, and I'm basically limping down side streets to get to a charger. So we'll see how the Bolt is on this journey. We'll try to get it as low as we possibly can. The good thing is efficiency has ticked up a couple of notches. So we were at 2.7, we're at 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. Keep an eye on that, and we'll see if we can make it to 200. Cruising in the car has been pretty comfortable. The seat's a little stiff, but the adaptive cruise works great. I don't have Super Cruise in this one, so since it's relatively a base model, just has the comfort package. So it just has heated seats and heated steering wheel is really the only options on it. We'll check back in at 25%. We are at 25% and still basically, and being that we've gone 144 miles, it looks like we're going to fall a little bit short of the full 200. And especially considering that, like I mentioned, I don't think I'll be able to get this car past 5%. So it looks like we're trending towards around 190-ish, but we'll see. We'll make this a quick check-in. Still similar data, getting 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. And the energy usage has still been the same in that 98% has gone to the wheels and 2% has gone to climate control. I should check back in around 10%. Well, as you can see, I just exited the highway, which was crystal clear. Because I'm trying to go to the supercharger here to do some charging, and it is gridlock nightmare here by O'Hare Airport. Everyone is being rude as heck and cutting. Just got cut off again. And that caused me to end the test a couple miles earlier than I would have liked to, but I'm at 15% and 170 miles traveled. I can safely estimate that I would have gotten 5% more out of it. I'm not sure that I really could have gotten any further than 10%, because when I did a cold weather range test, I had a lot of issues with the battery basically kind of shutting down on me. Be sure to stay tuned for that video, and I thought I did a good job of filming that experience at the end. But I can safely say I would have gotten at least another 5%, and it's been very consistent that every 5% has been 10 miles. So 180 miles is conservative. In these perfect conditions, that's what you should be able to get. Should possibly be able to get a couple more miles than that, but let me know if you think that's sufficient. I personally would have expected closer to 200 miles out of this battery. Technically, if you could use the last 10%, you could get there, but I've owned an Equinox for over a year, and I've not been able to get that thing down to 0%. So the way I've run into Chevy EVs being tuned is you just need to leave a little buffer. We'll call it 180 miles right now conservatively. And yeah, let me know down below if you would consider a Bolt EV, or do you think you would spring for the Equinox for a couple $1,000 more? You're getting more range. So let me know down in the comments. Subscribe so you don't miss any future content with the Bolt, the Equinox that we have, our Tesla, and more EVs to come in the future. So that was a wrap on the range test in perfect conditions, 72 degrees. Sorry for some of the background noise, but about 180 miles this car went, a little bit shorter than I expected. Again, be sure to let me know down below if you thought that was good enough, and if you would consider a 2027 Chevrolet Bolt LTEV. Remember, they're not producing them for long, so check out your local dealer if you want one.